The time has finally come. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our video tutorial series for Kingdom Hearts 1. In this video, we cover the fight against Sephiroth in the Platinum match at the Olympus Coliseum. The Platinum match becomes available after sealing the keyhole in Hollow Bastion, and it's one of the most difficult one-on-one fights in the game. Before we dive into the fight, let's review how we can best prepare for the One-Winged Angel. If you haven't done so already, travel to the Hollow Bastion library and speak with Era 3 times to receive Curaga magic. This will let you recover the greatest amount of HP every time you cast Cure. It's recommended to have Sora be at least level 70 for this fight, though you may find it more manageable at level 75 or 80. When it comes to keychains, it's great to use one with a long reach that boosts your MP. The best option for this is Ultima Weapon, which you can obtain through item synthesis. We placed a link in the video description to our guide on how to find the materials needed to craft it. While Diamond Dust fits the criteria for long reach and an MP boost, its strength boost is very poor, so unless your strength stat is 50 or higher, I wouldn't recommend using it. Lady Luck is not a bad option if you have it. You can obtain it by unsealing the White Trinity in Wonderland's Lotus Forest. Divine Rose is great for dealing damage, but it's a short Keyblade, making it tough to reach Sephiroth with your hits. If these keychains aren't an available option, you can always equip Oathkeeper or Oblivion for this fight, but keep in mind that you'll be sacrificing either your reach or your MP to use them. Equip accessories that boost Sora's HP and defense, like the Bangle accessories or Crystal Crown. You can obtain these through item synthesis in the Moogle's Workshop in Traverse Town. If additional slots are available, you can equip Omega Arts. You'll have one in your inventory for defeating the Behemoth in Hollow Bastion, and if you want another one, there's a 5% chance that the Archbehemoth will drop one when defeated in the End of the World. In general, the higher your defense and HP, the better chance you'll stand against Sephiroth's attacks. For abilities, be sure to equip Guard, Counterattack, Dodge Roll, MP Haste, MP Rage, Second Chance, and Leaf Bracer if you have them. Other abilities that are great to have equipped to Sora for this fight are Critical Plus, Hurricane Blast, Slapshot, Sliding Dash, Combo Plus, Combo Master, and Strike Raid. You can obtain Strike Raid by winning the Pegasus Cup with the entire party. Enter the Customize menu and add Cure Magic to your shortcuts. There's no other magic that you'll need for this fight. And finally, equip as many elixirs to Sora as you can. When you're ready, talk to Phil to start the match. This will be a long, in-depth analysis of this fight, so feel free to jump around using the video chapters to find the info that you're looking for. Now we're going to walk through each phase, reviewing how to avoid each of Sephiroth's attacks and finding where and when he's open to damage. In Phase 1, Sephiroth has 3 attacks: a stationary horizontal strike, a forward-stepping diagonal slash, and a set of 3 flame pillars. The stationary strike can be avoided with a well-timed jump. Try to aim your jump towards Sephiroth and hit him with a 3-hit air combo. This is a consistent opening to stagger him. You'll need to get a good feel for when to jump though. Sephiroth's sword strikes are super quick, so if you wait too late, you'll end up getting hit. If you land an air combo finisher, move away using dodge roll, or jump and glide slightly to your right so that you don't get hit by his next attack. Sephiroth's forward stepping slash can be avoided the same way, but you'll need to position your jump on his left so that you avoid his diagonal sword swing. If you manage to position your jump so that you're near his ending position, you'll be in a great place to deal a combo. This is another consistent opening where Sephiroth will stagger. If you're on the ground when he uses this move, you can still avoid the attack by dodge rolling in the opposite direction that he's traveling. If done correctly, this will put you near his ending position as well, so take that opportunity to stagger him and deal damage. Sephiroth will summon 3 pillars of flame in different scenarios that we'll explain later. If you find yourself in the middle of the flames, you can reduce the damage you take by casting Cure with the Leaf Bracer ability equipped, or by using a special attack ability like Strike Raid. If you're on the outside of the pillars, there's an opportunity to stagger Sephiroth just as the pillars subside by using Sliding Dash. When timed correctly, you can slide in between the fading pillars and strike him. Keep in mind that there are 3 scenarios where you'll see Sephiroth summon the flame pillars. The first is at the end of his attack pattern. Sephiroth's Phase 1 attack pattern consists of 4 sword attacks, followed by the Pillars of Flame. Every time he summons the flames, this attack loop is reset, so you can expect 4 sword attacks after that. The second is any time you stagger Sephiroth during one of his openings explained previously. And the third scenario in which you'll see the flames is when you reach one of Sephiroth's hit counters and he retaliates. Sephiroth has 2 separate hit counters. He will always retaliate after taking 4 hits in a single stagger, and he will also retaliate after taking 7 hits if a 4-hit combo is never dealt in a single stagger. Keep in mind that the only time your hits increase these counters is when he's staggered. That's a lot to keep up with, so let's take a look at a few examples. Let's try attacking with 2 separate 3-hit combos. Because we're only dealing 3 hits at a time, we don't reach his 4-hit counter. But now we have 6 hits landed on him. The next hit is the 7th and will cause Sephiroth to retaliate. Now let's try a 4-hit combo followed by a 3-hit combo. You'll see that Sephiroth retaliates after that 4th hit. But when we hit him 3 more times, he doesn't retaliate. That's because both counters are reset when either is reached. At this point, Sephiroth has taken 3 hits since the last retaliation, so we can land another 4 hits. My preferred method is to deal a 3-hit combo followed by 4 hits without a finisher. The first combo won't cause him to counter, and dealing the next 4 hits ensures that you only have to deal with 1 retaliation, because both the 4-hit counter and the 7-hit counter are met with that last strike. Now Sephiroth's retaliation can be any of his phase 1 attacks, and he might teleport before striking, which makes it really tough to prepare for. The best way to avoid damage here is to use the special attack ability Strike Raid just after your 7th hit. Using Strike Raid will give you iframes, making you temporarily invincible while the ability is active, and as an added bonus, each hit deals decent damage and won't increase his hit counters. We don't want our 7th hit to be a combo finisher though. Its animation is too slow to start Strike Raid in time to avoid damage. So I like to strike twice, break the combo, then strike twice again from the ground. One last note about the hit counters. If you have Aurora or Aroga magic active, the barrier touching Sephiroth will add to his hit counter, making it near impossible to keep count. So I wouldn't recommend using Arrow Magic if you're trying to keep track of the number of hits. So just to recap, deal a 3-hit air combo in the first opening, wait for the Pillars of Flame, and deal 4 hits in the next opening, followed immediately by Strike Raid. You can repeat this pattern for the entirety of Phase 1. And just so you know, Sephiroth has so much HP that his first health bar is invisible, so it might take a little while before you see his HP start to drop. When you start to see a bit of the orange health bar, Sephiroth will leap across the arena, signaling the start of Phase 2. Sephiroth will approach quickly, then teleport away to use Heartless Angel. Your goal is to reach Sephiroth and strike to stagger him as quickly as possible. Use your lock-on to find him quickly after he teleports, then use Dodge Roll or Super Glide to approach him. If you manage to stagger him before he finishes casting, it will cancel the spell and you can deal some damage. However, if you see a halo form above Sora's head, the spell cannot be undone at that point, and you'll be left with 1 HP and 0 MP. Your only option is to use an elixir as fast as you can. Sephiroth will run forward to strike you after a successful Heartless Angel, leaving you very little time to react. But if you use your item just before your HP and MP get sapped, it'll give you a lot more time to react to his next attack. After Heartless Angel, Sephiroth will use his attacks from Phase 1 while dashing and teleporting around the arena. Your window of opportunity to stagger him is much shorter in this phase. One of the most reliable openings I've found is at the start of his attack pattern just after Heartless Angel. Sephiroth will run directly toward you and strike with a stationary horizontal slash. You can jump over his sword swing and hit him with an air combo. The window to strike is still very small here, so I recommend just tapping the jump button. If you hold it for a full high jump, you'll be too far away to make contact before he starts running again. If you miss this first opening, don't go chasing Sephiroth on the ground. It's much safer to jump and glide to avoid his sword attacks and wait until he uses Heartless Angel again to land a combo. After being staggered, Sephiroth will summon the Pillars of Flame, just like in Phase 1. Then he'll run toward you again, giving you another opening after you jump over his sword swing. Keep in mind that the 4 and 7 hit counters still apply in Phase 2, so you might see him retaliate during your combo if you're not counting hits. After every 3 staggers, the stage will darken and Sephiroth will use Chaotic Dance, a flurry of 14 sword slashes and a final shockwave. This attack is hard to avoid and can leave you with very little HP by the end of it. Here are a few ways to make it through to the other side. You can time your guard so that you deflect most of his sword swings, and the iframes during Sora's knockback animation keep him safe from damage a lot of the time. Keep in mind that this does not work well using a keychain with a higher deflection rating like Olympia and Divine Rose. You can also use the Strike Raid ability to stay invincible during the attack and deal damage to him at the same time. You may want to put a slight delay between the follow-up commands to extend its duration. There is a way to navigate through this attack without using MP or taking damage, and it takes a bit of practice. This method works best if you can position Sephiroth near the center of the arena on his third stagger. When Chaotic Dance begins, lock on and jump over Sephiroth's left shoulder during his first swing. Dodge roll toward him during his fifth swing, and move around him in a wide circle. Then dodge roll toward him again during his ninth swing. Keep moving around in a wide circle until his final shockwave attack, which you can guard against or strike him at the right time to deflect. Here's the full attack slowed down a bit. The key to this method is to start running towards Sephiroth during his 4th and 8th sword swings, just before you dodge roll. If you're near him at the end of the shockwave attack, you can land a quick 3-hit air combo without it applying to his hit counter. After the shockwave, Sephiroth will teleport away to use Heartless Angel again. The full attack pattern starts with Heartless Angel, followed by his phase 1 attacks while running and teleporting. Chaotic Dance will only happen after you stagger Sephiroth 3 times, otherwise the attack pattern will loop back to Heartless Angel. Phase 3 begins when roughly a quarter of the yellow HP bar is depleted. Sephiroth will quickly teleport a few times and surround himself in a white aura. He will then summon a single ring of orbs that you can jump out of, and begin to cast his desperation move, Supernova. High jump and glide along the edge of the arena to avoid the shockwaves from the falling meteorites. Once all of the meteorites have fallen, they'll start circling the arena, each one moving either clockwise or counterclockwise. With good timing and a lucky rotation pattern, you may be able to run or dodge roll between them as they rotate. When the meteorites explode, Sephiroth will send a final explosion toward you. You can avoid it by super gliding to the opposite end of the arena, or dodge rolling just as the explosion detonates. You can cast Cure with the Leaf Bracer ability equipped to avoid damage too. In Phase 3, Sephiroth will run in wide circles while summoning Shadow Orbs. Keep your distance and prepare to guard when he gets close. If you manage to deflect his first spin attack, you can stagger him with a combo. If you're struck by his first spin attack, he'll usually follow up with a single slash and another spin attack, giving you another opening if you manage to deflect it. Whenever Sephiroth summons a ring of orbs around you, you can jump out of them. He'll typically summon 2 rings of orbs in succession, followed by a spin attack. Just like before, you can guard against the spin attack and land a combo just afterwards. Keep in mind that a 4-hit combo will trigger his counterattack. This counterattack can be any attack from Phase 1, or he can teleport away and use his spin attack. With good timing, you can dodge roll to avoid the spin attack, then move in for another combo. You can sometimes loop this pattern by dealing a 4-hit combo, dodge rolling, and repeating. If you deal a combo finisher on Sephiroth while he's staggered, he'll summon the Flame Pillars, so be sure to distance yourself after landing that finisher. And when he runs directly toward you after a stagger, he'll often leap across the arena. This is another good opening to land a full combo when he lands. Sephiroth can also use Chaotic Dance and Heartless Angel in Phase 3. You can use the same strategies from Phase 2 to handle these attacks, but keep in mind that he can use Chaotic Dance twice in a row, so be ready to evade, guard, or use Strike Raid. When Sephiroth has only 1 HP bar left, he'll often use Heartless Angel several times back to back. Make sure you lock onto Sephiroth each time he teleports away so you know where to run or glide to quickly. If Phase 3 is getting too hectic to keep up with, you can always use Strike Raid to deal consistent damage and remain invulnerable. Just be mindful of your MP and use an elixir when needed. Alright, that was a massive amount of information, so let's recap with the key takeaways. For Phase 1, jump over his sword swings and stagger him with 3 or 4 hit combos. After a stagger, dodge roll away to avoid his Pillars of Flame. And if you want to avoid his counterattack, use Strike Raid to deal damage and remain invincible. Remember that Sephiroth counterattacks after taking 4 consecutive hits in a single stagger, and after every 7 hits if a 4-hit combo is never dealt. For Phase 2, get to Sephiroth as quickly as possible and strike him to stop Heartless Angel. Your opening to stagger him comes after his Pillars of Flame. Jump when he rushes towards you and swings his sword. And use Strike Raid or Guard, or learn the dodge pattern to avoid his Chaotic Dance attack. For Phase 3, use your jump, glide, and dodge roll to avoid Supernova. Keep your distance and guard against his spin attack, then move in for a combo. Be on the lookout for his Chaotic Dance and Heartless Angel attacks, and use an elixir if your MP starts to get low. This is one of the most difficult fights in the series, so don't get discouraged. With these tips and some calm practice, it's just a matter of time before you get the one-winged angel down to 0. And that's the end of this tutorial. If you have any advice or tips of your own, share them with us in the comments section. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more content. And as always, you can find the best online walkthrough and guides to the Kingdom Hearts series at KHGuides.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.